So welcome back in the third tutorial in the series of playing with Clewin. So this tutorial is going to be very important because we'll learn some more remaining basic operations which are very useful uh, while making a design. Okay. So in the last tutorial we have covered the duplication and moving the object, and how we can change the scale, and how can we mirror the object. So these all the things we have gone through earlier. Now we will check out some other options. So first I will make some boxes. Yes. So first we will check out this option. This is merge. Okay, so to merge any two objects we have to have at least some overlapping area. So these two objects are close. You can see two node points, so this means these two things are separate, like these two are different elements. If I select the merge option, it will become a single entity. Okay. And we have one more option. Just suppose I move it here, and if I select the full thing, so now I have this option. This is called intersect. Okay, so intersect means it will leave the common overlapping part of the full object. Okay, so here if we go back, since this is a single entity and this is another entity, so the common part between this full entity and this entity is this small rectangle. So after applying this operation, we will have only this small area remaining. You can see this. Now we'll check the other option. So again I will make some rectangles, suppose like this. Okay, so if I select the full area of the design, we have this option. This is called XOR. So as you can see in the symbol also, the common overlapping part is missing. That means it will remove the common overlapping part. Okay, so if I select this option, you can see the common overlapping part is removed. Okay, so just remember this option. It's very useful actually. I will show some more applications of this operation. Just suppose if you make alignment mark, just suppose I will copy it and I will rotate it by 90 degrees. Yeah, and I will merge it. So now this is a single entity. Now just suppose you want a bright field design for the same alignment marker. So how will you do that? So if you want a bright field design of the same alignment marker, so you want the other area to be colored and this plus mark area to be in white color. So basically you have to flip the design. How you will do that? You can do it by using XOR option. So first we will make a covering area. We'll cover it with the same color, the red color layer. Now if I select both of these objects, as you can see, this big rectangle which we have made just now, it's just covering this full plus align marker. So if I select the full thing now and I give the option XOR, so it will subtract, or I should say it will remove the common overlapping part of both of these objects. So now you can get any kind of like bright field design by using XOR option. Okay, but we have one more option which can do the same thing, but it's little different from the XOR option. Let's see which option is this. So if I make one more plus, Control C, Control V, now rotate 90 degrees. Yes, now if I merge it, it will become a single entity. Yes, so I have one more option which can do the same thing, but we have an additional option when we use this option. This option is called inversion. Okay, so I just have to click here after selecting the full entity. Now it's asking for a border width. So what is this border width? So as you can see here in the earlier plus mark which we have reversed in the image, so there we were having some gap. You can see here. Yes, So here you have some gap, so this is called the border width. So we can give this border width in this inversion option, and in XOR we don't have any option to give any border width. If we want some specific border width, then we have to define our covering area or covering square or rectangle which we made in the next step. But here in inversion we can decide the border width. So I just have to click here on inversion, then I can give the border width. Just suppose if I want it to be 100 micrometers, I will select 100 and I will click OK. So now you can see this width is 100. So if I measure this, it will be 100. Yes, it is 100 micrometers. So again, just suppose if I want it to be 2 mm, so I can select the option inversion. Then I have to give 2000 micrometers, because 2000 micrometers it's equals to 2 mm. I will click OK. So now you can see we have got a boundary of 2 mm. So like this you can flip the image of your object, or you can change the polarity of your object by using XOR option or inversion option. Now you can differentiate between both of these options, like how inversion works and how XOR works. For XOR we have to give a separate covering boundary, then it will flip the image accordingly. In inversion we don't require any covering boundary, we can just directly select the object and we can select the option, then we have to give the border width, that's it. Just suppose if I want to reverse this image, so again I have two options, XOR or inversion. Let's go with XOR again just for revision purpose. So just suppose if I want this time higher border width, so I will give a large covering area. Again I have to select this area. Now I will get an option of XOR. I will click here. So now you can see the image has been flipped. Okay, so earlier it was something like this, now again we flipped it and it became like this. And if you can see, this border is a little bit thicker or higher compared to the earlier one, because the larger the covering area is, the larger our border width will be. Okay, so we have covered uh, merge option, XOR option and inversion option. Okay, there are two more options, we will go through that also. So I will make one rectangle. This is the first rectangle. Just suppose I'm making a second rectangle over here, and if I select both of these rectangles, so now if I okay, we have already uh, checked this option, this is intersect, so this will keep the common part. And if I select this option, this is for subtraction, so it will subtract out the second part which you have made from the first existing part. So we made this part first, then this part next, so it will remove the second part from the first part. Okay, so if I give this option, you can see the second part has been removed, which was existing as a common part in the first area. So just suppose if I uh, make a big rectangle, and again if I make a small rectangle, but this time I'm making that small rectangle inside this big rectangle. So let's see what happens after using the subtract option. So if I select this full thing, you can see the two node points here, so this indicates that there is something. Now if I select the subtract option, so you can see the second part has been removed from the first part. Okay, so this was all about XOR, merge, inversion and subtract and intersect. Now we have a basic thing, like this is to control the grid size. Okay, so if you select this, you have an option to control your grid size. So the dots which you can see, it's just representing your grid. Okay, you can increase the grid size according to your requirement. Just suppose if I'm giving 20,000, if I click OK, so now the spacing between these two dots are 20,000 micrometers, that means 20 mm. Okay, if I zoom in, you can see there is no dots in between, so I can make it to just suppose 1 micrometer. So now again, if you see, the spacing between these two grids are 1 micrometer. If you measure from here to here, it's 1 micrometer. Okay. Again, you have a lot of options. You can make the horizontal grid different from the vertical grid. Here it will be same, like if you give 2 micrometers, so in vertical also you will get 2 micrometer, but you have the option to change the vertical grid separately if you uncheck this option. So now you can give a separate horizontal grid spacing, and vertical grid spacing can be different. Just suppose if I'm giving horizontal one to be 10 and vertical to be just suppose 20 micrometers, and if I click OK, so you can see the spacing between the grid points in the horizontal direction, it's less, and in vertical it's more, because we have selected 10 and 20 in x and y direction. And you can change the color of the grid points also. You can select this option. Just suppose if you want a red color, so you can select here. Again, you can change the way it looks. Just suppose if I'm selecting the plus, so it will come in plus manner and it will be in red color, you can see here. Okay. Now just suppose if I make a rectangle here, one here, one here, just suppose, yes. So just suppose you have some design, it's spreaded in full 4-inch area or 5-inch area or whatever it is, but you never know whether something is outside this writing area or not. Just suppose if I'm making this thing here. Okay. Yeah. So just suppose you missed out this rectangle, you are focusing here, you are just doing some editing here, and when you are going for the like lithography, you forgot that some objects are outside your writing area as well. So while writing, it might give you some error, or it might write outside your substrate. So to prevent this kind of error, we can like focus on the full design whatever we have in our file. So for that, you have this option here, zoom to all. So it will zoom in your full design which exists in your file. So if you click here, so now it will fit the full design in your preview window. You can see here, this is your preview window. This option will help you to zoom in your full design whatever it is to your preview window. So you can see that this design is also existing here. So you can see this window, you can see this object in this window as well. So if you delete this, now if you select this option, so now you are getting the view of these three objects in your preview window, because you have only these three objects. Okay. And again, if you want to specifically zoom any specific object, so you have to select it, and you can select this option, zoom selection, so it will zoom in the selected object of your design. Okay. So now this full object is zoomed in and it's fit to your preview window. Okay. So this was all in this part using basic operations. So today in this tutorial we have went through the XOR option, inversion, merge, intersect and subtract. Also we have checked how to change the grid size. Also we have checked how can we identify whether there is some objects outside our writing area or not. We can fit the full design in our preview window and check how many elements do we have. Okay. So in next tutorial we'll be going for some practice sessions. We'll try to make some devices and we'll try to populate it with the help of a duplicate option. Also we'll see how can we make alignment markers, how the alignment markers helps us in the alignment, and which alignment markers you should use for your device or during your fabrications, and how critical it is to use alignment markers properly. So thank you for watching till here. See you soon.